Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Crypto Traders Arena. This is Kevin here speaking, and just kind of doing an impromptu stream for the public today. I've been doing some afternoon videos for the members the last few days, and today Paul asked me if I wanted to do it for the public, and I said, sure, why not? So here I am. Welcome if you happen to see our tweets and are joining us. Hey, Paul, I see him. At least Paul's watching, so I might be talking to only a couple people, but Paul's one of them, so thank you, sir, for joining me. But really, just probably going to talk some broader market stuff in crypto today. Pretty exciting day, obviously, with this recent XRP news. And really just the markets are, definitely a risk-on kind of day, both in the stock market and crypto. So can talk about that. And Paul made me a funny thumbnail for today's show. I don't think I have it right here, but oh, here it is. So now we've officially sold ourselves out as YouTubers because we got this guy's face now. As soon as you start using this face on YouTube, you've sold your soul. So here we are. We're now YouTubers, Paul. So thanks, man. And we even have kind of a clickbaity title. So there you go. But funny enough, that's not really our style per se to just be, I think our title says something like XRP starts the summer rally, and that actually could be true. I am expecting some sort of summer rally, but I don't know. It's just silly playing around title. Definitely not saying that has to happen. However, yeah, D-Max. That's the Moon Carl face. It's true. So, yeah, but anyway, it's exciting anyway. I mean, I actually saw people on Twitter that were mad that XRP got some good news, which if you're into crypto and you're mad about this, then you probably should reconsider why you're into crypto. Because, I mean, while XRP might not be your favorite coin, I think this is good news for crypto in general. And it's not even as, news is always, it seems a little bit more blown out of proportion than it really is. But seems good news for crypto, really. If any time the SEC gets kind of smacked in the face regarding crypto, that's probably a good thing. But yeah, we might play around with talking about clickbaity titles, but really we're a community of traders that respects our setups, as Paul's saying in the chat here, and that's kind of the heart of our group anyway. We're really trying to be professional traders here. That's our main goal here, isn't to be YouTubers. We want to be professional traders that are acting professionally in the marketplace. So what does that mean? That means we're following well-vetted plans and setups, and really you shouldn't even be in a trade unless you have a predetermined setup to justify yourself acting in the market. And so we're trying to do that, and we're trying to help people with that as well. So if you want to take this business seriously, then you might check us out on Discord. And then we do a lot of streaming and stuff too. In the meantime, a lot of scalping in our group, a lot of shorter term trading. We do manage to squeeze in some investing stuff, and of course, Paul and I are doing a Sunday show just reviewing our investment plan for altcoins. So also check that out. That's on Sundays on YouTube at 16 UTC. But today's just sort of a out of nowhere kind of what the hell. I'm going to just talk about some stuff for a bit, and if you guys find any value in it, then I'd, of course, appreciate a like and subscribe and the whole bit. So that said, we'll just get into it. I mean, I've pulled up this Coinbase article really just to get into the XRP thing right away. I think this is, they just express it very straightforwardly. But this paragraph down here, the sale of Ripple's tokens do not constitute investment contracts. However, the sale to institutions of tokens did violate federal securities laws. So it's kind of funny. It's like they're saying to the general public it's not a security for Ripple to be selling tokens, but anybody that was involved in the institutional investing part at the beginning or whatever, I can't remember how Ripple was exactly distributed when it started, but nonetheless there might be some issues there. So kind of a mixed message from from the courts. So I don't know, but either way, it obviously had a bullish reaction in the marketplace. So XRP ripped, XLM ripped. Saw a lot of people banging out doubles. I have my own funny story about XRP. I'll get into in a bit, but I did bang out a double on XLM, and I have a double level on XRP. But so anyhow, this is the news, and like usually. Again, as like professional traders, we're trying not to get too wrapped up in the news. We're just interested in how it affects the market. So like, how is this story going to be received across the market? And I think it's good news and bullish, because I think we're also I think you can find setups that support XRP before this news. So like, I think, if you're long, you should have been long before this news. And I think if you're buying XRP right now on the news, you're probably asking for trouble. So. I actually even, I could toot my horn some more. I think I have, I pulled up this post from the 18th in my room, June 18th. So like a month ago, I was saying the XRP is the nicest chart in crypto, one of the nicest charts in crypto. And on this chart, it's kind of a shitty image, but I mean, my blue box there is 78.6 fib down to 88.6 fib. So when I talked about this, it was just sitting right at 78.6 with like W's all over the place. So, I mean, find that chart. This is that chart. And where we're at now, that was right here. So a month ago about. So don't say I didn't warn you. That was just in my room on Discord, which isn't available to the free members. But man, okay, anyway, my point is, I think there was a setup in here before the news. So we want to be looking at XRP in this area here where we start seeing W's come in. There's the first weekly W right there. That breakout is where you should be long from if you're like a super shark. That's 41 cents, which is pretty close to where I'm long from. But that's a good level right there. Hopefully you can see. I mean, this trend line's drawn off the M, so I'm taking it off of these 2 points, this big market M, structure M. And then the W came in after, and that's a classic TRI LJ. So if you don't know that setup, maybe talk to TRI. But you can see what happened now. We ran right up into 38.2 and got rejected. So that's funny, the market stopped right at 38.2 of the fib going back to the upside now. So we'll see. This isn't, this just, it might have some traffic up here and it might stall out here and have to come back down. We'll see. Or maybe they keep ripping it. I don't know. Not a lot of volume I'm noticing here, but this is a Binance chart, USDT. Not a ton of volume so far. Well, this is a weekly chart, but we are getting towards the end of the week. So let's look at a daily chart really quick and just see the volume. Yeah, you can see it did break to a new high on volume, relative highs. So you'd think. So anyway, what else can we say about XRP? I mean, not a lot. I mean, one, it is one of the nicest charts. Like, let's just for the fun of it, like look at this chart, and then let me pull up Algo, which is just one that I've been kind of hating on lately, just cause. But I hope you can see the difference between these two charts. So like, the nice W bottoms coming in XRP and that nice sideways channel in XRP, that never happened in Algo, and we're just making new lows. Lower highs and lower lows. So this is a downtrend still, whereas XRP is not. So, whoops, I lost it. So, like even ignoring today's candle, hopefully you can just see the difference, these W's coming in. This is the kind of chart you want to find. And there are some in crypto, but there's not a lot. Like when I said this, it was because this was one of the only places I saw W's coming in below 78.6 at that moment in time a month ago. There were some other ones, like funny enough XLM, which is also one that I have been talking about lately. But XLM, which is, should be following XRP for the most part, but you can see the W come in here. That W broke out the week of March 27th. So it's been, this was an earlier W. And that gave you plenty of time to buy that W as it came back down, which is, what I was doing. And I was looking, I got a double out. By the way, I did sell on a double here. And then I guess I didn't tell my XRP story, which is relevant because the classic US resident story, I got Qcoin, I have problems with Qcoin, so I've been moving stuff off of there, and I'm almost done. But an XRP was on there, and I sent it to a wallet, but I looked on Kraken, and it said I could deposit, and so I assumed that Kraken would let me sell it. But the thing about Kraken is, they have some coins are restricted to Americans, and so you have to double check. It's like if you look on CoinMarketCap, it won't necessarily mean that you can trade it in the U.S. So anyway, well, long story short, today I deposited to Kraken so I could sell XRP, and then they let me deposit it, but then I couldn't sell it. It's restricted, and I went to their like support, and it was, not like I didn't file a ticket, but in the questions I saw, like they just straight up say they have a list of coins that you can't deposit or trade, and then underneath it says XRP can't trade, but they'll let you deposit that shit. So like, yeah, I'm like fully, I'm a lifelong XRP bag holder now, which is cool. I'm down with that, except I already saw Gemini saying they're going to list it. And so I'm not worried about it. I'm actually, like every good XRP army soldier, I think XRP is going to at least 100. Put that on YouTube. I'm just kidding. God help me. I'm not saying that. So, oh yeah, 500. What am I saying? 100. I don't think that's true, but I mean, hopefully, just on my chart here, you can see, just to reiterate that I don't think 100 is reasonable, but $2 is maybe. It was the actual high here on Binance was $1.97 almost. It'll probably get back up to at least up in the sort of reload zone type area above $1.30. So I'm not worried about it. I'm gonna just I moved them back to the wallet, and I'm just going to sit on it, and it's fine. And maybe even buy more down the road would be cool with me if we do get back down into reasonable levels again, which it's likely we will. So, going forward, if you're if you're long already, great. If you're not long, I don't know if I want to buy right here. I mean, I don't think you should actually. I mean, I'm not here to give anybody direct advice, but this is not a good location. We like to find good location for trading, and if anything, 38.2 here is sort of like this is like the first place where a bull market's tested. So if this thing's really entering into a bullish uptrend and we're going to move higher into the top of the range, then we need to see we don't want to see weakness here, like any sort of rejection here, like that's currently happening. Of course, this is just one day, the same day this thing's up like 70% on the day right now. So who knows? It might just keep pushing higher. But even if we right now there's not going to be much on a 4-hour chart. Even if we go down to like a 30-minute chart, there's still no really like top here yet. So there's no M or anything. So I don't know what's going to happen here, but at the same time, we don't, any kind of M right here underneath 38.2 means it's just not quite ready to move to the top of the range yet. So we like to use that area for kind of determining that, not as a buying area. The last thing we want to do is be buying this. It just means we're too late. If it's hitting 38.2, we miss the trade. So at this point now, you got to look for this thing to roll over and come back down against the old support here. Which it might do. We'll see, like, probably later in the year, getting back to the summer rally thing. Like, did XRP start the summer rally? I don't know. Honestly, I think the crypto stocks were already bullish before XRP. So there's definitely a summer rally happening anyway. And crypto stocks are really enjoying that, which I can get into in a minute. But we do expect some sort of, like, rather relative uppiness for the next month and a half. Or so. Usually September is a horrible, like if you can go verify this yourself, like just search it. Septembers are usually like lackluster months in the stock market. It's usually the worst performing month of the stock market. And so I think, that's sort of the general outlook for this is like, we'll probably expect some uppiness here through August. And then on the other side of August, probably, you start getting into like tax loss selling and, sort of end of the year, which like even last year, marked the, like the end of last year marked this bottom that's been kind of happening in crypto and Bitcoin since the beginning of the year. kind of looking for the same thing. So, the general vibe has been we're expecting sort of like a sideways-ish accumulation year. And so if that's true, we should expect things like 38.2 to get hit and then prices to come back down to set up, what will be the real bull run down the road. I don't necessarily think the real cycle bull run starting right here. I do think it's just sort of a summer rally. So, and I do think, it's relatively likely that you'll see chances to buy XRP again, and XLM for that matter. They basically look the same. So I put ADA on here because I guess I'm just jumping straight into crypto. I'm going to cover the stock market here, but that's my XRP rant and my story about me not being able to sell it, and that reminds me of the whole American thing, which is annoying. This is the first of probably several annoyances I'm going to have to face down the road with kind of having to move off Qcoin. And I'm kind of sick of it, and I don't want to, it sucks that I've already undone some of the work I did the beginning of the year, like some doubles had and stuff, and I had to liquidate some things and, or just change my plan on some things. I don't like that. I do specifically in my altcoin long-term plan. That's the only excuse I have for liquidating down at the bottom is I do have one. I'm not allowed to sell the bottom like this, except for like when I have to because of exchange issues. I was anticipating this stupid Qcoin problem, so at least it wasn't like it came out of nowhere. I was definitely, in fact, on our Sunday show, I think I probably mentioned it like several times before it actually happened. And I've also jokingly said this marks the bottom, and I'm not joking actually. I do think that me getting kicked off Qcoin is marking the bottom. Anyway, so I am adapting my plan, and I'm going to be focused on Kraken and Coinbase as far as altcoin investing, and then off on-chain stuff if possible. And I really want to get more into on-chain trading. That's something I haven't really done a lot of, and sort of changing my crypto approach a little bit, so I'll keep people posted on that. But and it also motivates me to get more involved in the stock market, which you can trade these crypto stocks. Hell, like I said, they're outperforming altcoins at the moment. They've been outperforming altcoins for about a couple weeks. Geez, Paul's saying he made 6 salaries on XLM. I'm assuming he had a leveraged long, which is, yeah, Paul had a really nice trade going today, it looks like, on XLM. So nice work, sir. He's a shark of all sharks. Actually, you haven't seen too many people trade like Paul, or our fearless leader. He's probably one of the sharkiest sharks I've ever seen, to be honest. So nice work, man. What else? Let's see. I got off train of thought, of course. Every time I start reading the chat, it's hard to keep my thoughts together, but I was just seeing if anybody's asking me anything. Nice. DMAC said he's doing well, so good job, DMAC. We were banging out a lot of doubles being banged out today in the room. That's cool. Yeah, so I banged out a couple crypto stock doubles too, so I'll just that's my rant on XRP and XLM. Geez, that was a long way of saying not a whole lot, but those are actually two of the nicest looking bottoms in crypto right now. And so that it's not a surprise they're taking off. I had ADA here at Cardano ADA because Paul had mentioned it is up on the day. There's nothing that exciting to me about this, but you can't, just while we're looking at it, we might as well just do some quick analysis on it. And I am, somebody that wants to own Cardano. I already have a bag left over from the last cycle too. And so, usually with these things, all we're trying to do is find charts that look like that XLM. I mean, honestly, if as an investor for crypto, especially if you're focused on just like the longer term cycle, you're not really like a day trader or somebody that's active in the market every day, and maybe you have a job or something. The best thing you can do to improve your investing is just start finding charts that look like XRP and XLM. We want to like find W bottoms in good location, and Cardano definitely has good location. The first thing I do is just draw a fib retracement from the low to the high of the last cycle. And you can see we've come down 88%. So we're at 88.6, basically sitting just under 88.6 right now. So the location's really good. You know, this market's been just destroyed. And you can kind of see the rounding out of the bottom. I mean, you got to be patient and just let this thing finish rounding out. It's starting. We did make like an FU low here on this dump in June. You know, they just washed the low. And that's a pretty good level to buy if you're, you know, you're a shark and you're sitting here looking at it. But nonetheless, 100% location's good. Now I do see further downside. You do have to be mindful of like the downside, and you know these things like to check the previous W breakout. So there's two of them here. Like these are the old W's. You know, there's this big wide one, and then there's this little one. I suppose I could draw them for, I don't know, for new people. I mean, people that hang out with us daily hopefully know this stuff already. But if you're new to this, you know what I mean by a W bottom is just, you know. Of course, I have some weird marker on. And then that was a horrible drawing. I gotta zoom in a little bit first. Actually, and I was lying too, because I forgot Cardano actually broke the lows in COVID. Yeah, like we actually, so this isn't really a W. So I forgot about Cardano was one of the ones that broke. So like Bitcoin didn't lose the lows here. Ethereum didn't. But like Link did and Cardano. And so this isn't really a W. But I mean, the fib location still stands. But, you know, we did make a lower low on the right. So what I meant, you know, what I mean by W's is hopefully you can see like a W bottom coming in here. This one was invalidated because right here we actually made a new low. So that's not really what we want to see. But they came in later and made the W here. So even if we take, you know, and now there's a sort of steeper W, but even if you take that level, my point is these things often like to come all the way back down to that level. So that's still another 50% down. So, you know, the point is here, this thing might have to just go like this for a while, but eventually you'll start to see it looking like XRP like that. And then we want to buy, you know, this sort of begs the question of, do you want to wait for more confirmation, or are you going to just kind of buy location and start nibbling through here, which is fine. It just all depends on your plan. But the most conservative way is just let this thing play out till it W's. Again, going back to, you know, XRP, the same thing. This is exactly what it looks like. So maybe this is just like a little tutorial on investing in altcoins, because it is, I don't want to say it's easy, because it's not easy to actually keep your head in the game and not fuck it up. But this part's pretty easy. Like, I don't know, it's not that hard to understand what I just said about, you know, prices like to come back and check the original weekly W's. And, you know, I see this one, the first W is this one down here. So we didn't check it, but we got damn close. So when you start getting down and, you know, that's a W there. And we got pretty damn close to it. So anytime we're getting close to that, you should at least be like, at the bare minimum, being like, well, the bear market has come a long way down, and we're probably getting to a place where sellers are exhausted. You know, this is a likely place to bottom. Up here is not such a great place to be thinking about bottoms. Like even right here in this like ugly price action here where we shot down and bounced, we never, you know, we never got into my blue box, which is sort of like the deep sea kind of cheapy land where you can, you're not buying tops when you're buying in blue boxes. That's below 78.6. So even right here, it wasn't really a great looking bottom, but, you know, by the time we get down here against, you know, that we didn't quite hit that W like I was saying, but we did hit this one, which is sort of like the second W breakout. So, you know, we basically bottomed right off that level, which ultimately became 88.6 of the range. So, so location's killer here. And then you start seeing the W's. So like, you know, you could have just been in here buying location. That's sort of like a, that's like called information risk. So you don't have a lot of information. So you're just stepping in here without a lot of, you know, confirmation here. Whereas on this side over here is more like price risk, where where it's like you've waited for confirmation. So you're probably going to pay up a little bit because you're buying, you might be paying a little bit of a premium to wait for these W's. In this case, not really, because you can see how this level, even right there, got tested again. But like you could have waited for me to say, I was like that candle where I was like, this is one of the nicest charts in crypto right now because I see all these W's right in this blue box. Even if you'd have just hit that level right there, you're paying up from the original W, but you would have still gotten not quite a double yet. So, that's 80 if you would have, waited for all the confirmation. So you got to find out what kind of investor you are is what I'm getting at. But that compared to Cardano, we're like sort of earlier in that. We haven't started making the W's yet. So as much as Cardano's up on the day, it's sort of V-bottoming off of this FU low, and location's good, but there's no structure here. So just food for thought. Personally, I think it's smart to wait for W's. I don't have a problem, and I will do some nibbling on myself, but I think it's the best way is just wait for these W's to come in. So Cardano's not ready yet. And then the last thing I would do with altcoins is look at my OBV. I mean, RSI you can look at too for divergences, but I like to just look at OBV. And all I can see is OBV making an M here. So I don't like that. I want to see at least a W to support the idea this thing's ready to bottom. And this is actually an M. It's kind of a, it's not really full. I think it did confirm right there, but that's not a nice looking OBV. To show you another strong chart, just to show you guys some strong charts. I think that's probably the best use of our time anyway, honestly. Just me showing you guys these kind of charts would probably give you the best bang for your buck for watching this show. Because if you can learn this, then you'll be miles ahead. I mean, as an investor, and you can incorporate this in shorter term trading too. It's like I'm just talking about investing here, but ignore all my lines, but let's just focus on this one. Was a newer issue, so I don't have data, back here, but let's assume the location was good. But either way, you see the rounded bottom, patiently wait. This is the weekly W, so it broke out. I don't want to get rid of my lines from my buying. I don't know what that line is actually, but see the bottom come in, weekly W breaks out. If you're sitting right here and want to buy that breakout, okay, fine. You would have banged a double out right away in a couple weeks. And that's fine. In my case, I waited for the pullback against the W, which is sort of more conservative. Remember, I was talking about more information. Like here you had the information of the W. Here you have like price checking that W, which is like sort of more support. But talking about OBV, this is what I want to see with OBV. So you can see this is actually in divergence here. So this is a perfect one. You can see that OBV here is making higher lows as price made lower lows. OBV divergence, it's the most powerful divergence, in my opinion. Other people might disagree with me, but if you watch markets, you'll see all the other indicators confirm before OBV. OBV doesn't confirm, and then the market doesn't do what you thought. I swear. Because these are more rare. But anyway, if you can find weekly charts with the OBV divergence that comes in and with the weekly W, hopefully even before it. And this one, the confirmation, is I guess I gotta. So even if I hid volume here for a minute, this one, it's all M's and W's basically. So like the W here is like, it's kind of weird looking because it's, it depends how you want to draw it, but it's basically that, it's you got to go in there and look at it. I see it. It's not like, it's very steep, but like, there's a very much a divergence here. It's not the best. It's hard to draw a W level off of that actually, but man, or even actually, what am I even saying? The W is really even if you look at it bigger like this, so that's the better way to draw it. So like, when we made that run up, we actually confirmed that divergence. But going back to ADA, look at how ADA is not that, is really my point. So now we have ADA is making lower lows in price. You know, we had lower lows. Even that's the low. So we want to see OBV the opposite of here. This is actually an M, like I was saying here, which we actually did confirm an M. So, you know, OBV looks like this. That's an M. So that's not ready. Cardano's not ready yet. So it's uppy day, but it's not really, in my opinion. And this is for long-term investment. I'm not, and of course, you guys, maybe Cardano rips tomorrow and I'll look like a dummy or whatever. I don't care, because I know that chances are I have better chances with a trade like this. So like, hopefully you can see the, and of course this one I just banged a double out on, and so like I'm not saying buy it here. Unfortunately, I'm kind of talking about the past here, but maybe we can find some. Maybe you guys know some. Yeah, somebody's saying Rose on weekly. Paul is. Link is kind of lagging, but soon like XRP. So yeah, we'll look at those in just a second. So I'll just I'll just finish my point here. You know, OBV divergence and a weekly W. Those are, well. So now I have a lot of reasons in this chart, right? I have first the OBV div came in at the same time as the weekly W. So I have a structure and a location, or sorry, a momentum reason. I have like an indicator reason. OBV is volume momentum. And I have a weekly double bottom W. So I have that to work with. And then I also have location. So anyway, price broke out, and then I drew my fibs, and I have location, which is 78.6. And you can see how I ended up at, I nibbled on this a couple times, but I ended up averaged in at 78.6, which is my goal, which is that, you know, remember my blue boxes. This is like a blue box would be right here. So that's like the cheapy cheap, you know, if you want to be a sniper, you got to be hunting down below 78.6. You know, up here, like sort of TRI reload zone is the green box above, which is fine too. It's just you got to figure out what works for you. At least, you know, you're not buying tops when you're buying in green boxes either. But point being, this is my altcoin setup. This is my favorite investment trade setup, which is just W breaks out. You wait for the pullback. You draw your fibs. Hunt for basically 78.6 against the previous W breakout. So, you know, anywhere around this 38.5, 35.5, anywhere down there would have been valid. And then you can't say there wasn't time. There's like all that time, several weeks of testing it. So go out and find this shit is my only point. Cardano's not one yet. Somebody said Rose, like, let's see. Like, does Rose look like that? Yeah, I mean, so okay. Well, again, the first thing I would do is draw my fibs. I can already say that this is well below 88.6. So yeah, 88.6 is at 94. So we're location's good. We're down against the lows. I don't know, maybe there's more lows on different charts. This is Binance, but you know, we're down against the lows. So you have location is good. OBV. We actually are in potential, well, we are in divergence actually, if you consider this. So we made lower lows here. We made a new low. OBV did not. So again, this is a perfect divergence. So this is a W here, right? Boom, 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 boom. Broke out there. So somewhere around here, that OBV div confirmed. So that's like right here. So now we have location and indicator confirmation. Now all we need is a W, and you could argue there is a W right here. I don't love it because I'm looking for like long drawn out W's like XRP. As a conservative altcoin investor, I'm gonna call myself. I want to wait for more, especially the more exchanges I get kicked off of. But I mean, you can't argue that it's not there. So there's a little bit of a W there. Like if we look at a line chart, you'll see it very clearly. Yeah, so a little weekly W. So you could base a trade off of that. So yeah, I like Rose. That's a good one. You should, make sure it's on your list if you like. I mean, it hasn't technically broken out yet. It might be nice to see this break out, and then you could buy that level on a retest. That's probably a good way to look at that. Another thing you could do if you're just like sort of sniping is you maybe draw another fib off of this range. you're in reload zones here. You can see how 78.6 wasn't the worst level to step in on, but again, it comes down to how much how much confirmation you want. But this is weekly W. Personally, I would rather it kind of go like this, like actually that becomes the middle of the W and then it does another one. Because I want to see like nice wide ones. Going back to XRP. Just look at them like that one. That's a perfect W right there. There's another one, perfect W. Not to mention the wider, huge perfect W. So just my 2 cents. That's how I see this. And I will mention one thing is you can see how OBV actually M'd out after my divergence. So that's not, that's okay because really we're still making higher highs in OBV in general. But just for my setup, I would still count. This is still fine for me. Now I just need a weekly W that I like to buy this. And I don't even think I can buy it because I'm in the US. I think this is one I can't get. Anyhow, so hopefully that was a 35-minute rant on basically how to buy altcoin bottoms. I don't know. Let me show you some crypto or some stocks that are the same thing. Like this, I mean, the Bitcoin mining stocks have just been ripping and they're oh, cool. Richard says he'll buy it for me, Rose. I mean, I know I can buy it on chain and stuff. I just don't think I can buy it on Kraken or Coinbase. So anyway, the same thing happens in the stocks. I mean, I do have my wins up here today. I'm not just up here trying to toot my own horn, actually. It just happens to be the ones. Well, not all of these actually are wins. And I'm just like, I guess I'm freestyling here. I don't know. I'm just kind of talking. There's a few people listening, so welcome. And again, thanks for joining us. If you're new, then, we're Crypto Traders Arena, online community, a Discord room where we have a public room that's free to join. And we do have like a private room that's focused on trading setups. And we have a lot of things we offer in that room. But we are actually about to take the Discord private. So if you do want to join Discord, coming pretty soon here, you're going to have to DM Paul directly and get a link because just the spam's gotten too out of hand. And we are just kind of going private as far as just not having the link to join floating around. But that's who we are, and stream every day during the London session, and we stream every day during the New York session. And that's all mostly like scalping and day trading type trades of Binance futures, everything on Binance, and then traditional markets as well. We have a lot of traders that are funded with my Forex funds, so they're funded and they're trading like S&P 500 and stuff like that every day. So, and then we also offer some public videos too while I'm at it. I think on Tuesdays we have Stefan scalping live streaming around the London session, I believe, and then we have our New York session stream is available to everyone on YouTube, and that's on Tuesdays. Starts a half hour before the New York stock market open. So doing a lot. And then if you are a premium member, we're adding some new things going forward. So that's part of this. Like normally I would be talking with the premium members right now, but today we're just doing it for the public. So that's who we are, and I'm Kevin, and then this is CLSK, a Bitcoin miner. But I guess I'm just gonna say the same thing. Like this is the same chart as XRP. Really, if you're paying attention, keep in mind I've only been looking at weekly charts here, so this is really slowed down. This isn't like high octane stuff here. But again, just the bear market had to round itself out. Being a buyer up here, you got faked out. You're that's okay. Like this W here, I could see people taking shots, but you didn't wait for the 78.6 and below, which I do, think it's worth it. It's almost better to just find a different stock that did come down lower if this one doesn't seem to want to, but or altcoin, because almost all altcoins and Bitcoin included. I mean, Bitcoin has always retraced 80%. Basically every cycle, Bitcoin's come off 80% around there, sometimes a little more. So I think it's worth waiting, but you know, bottom rounded out. We got eventually got a nice weekly W and even a cheekier little weekly W down here. And OBV was, you know, this one's not in divergence, but we do have this wide W across the cycle. So, and the thing about OBV is it just basically says, is money flowing in or out of an asset? So like, it's volume based. It's a volume momentum study, right? So if OBV is ticking higher, that means there has more, you know, it was a bullish day with more volume than the previous day, essentially, is what it means. So if OBV is pointing up, it means prognosis is good. Money's flowing into the name, not out. So the sellers, you know, the sellers that were showing up right here at the bottom weren't, I mean, how would I say that? There was, it's like there was, or I should say the bulls were defending a higher level than back here. Maybe that's a good way to say it. I don't know. But point being is, as price was moving, you know, through the bear market, OBV was still just grinding higher from the previous cycle. It's a generally bullish thing, and I look for W's here. So in my investment plan, I allow for a W. It doesn't have to be a divergence. I prefer a divergence, but W is okay. So you can see how it confirmed like right here on the actual W breakout, which is, that was your buy really. And then you got kind of a retest here, you know, that day. So you'd have had to be paying attention. If you're trying to buy the Wyckoff check of the W, you know, you would have basically, you know, you could have bought it up there. I guess I was buying a daily W, if I remember correctly, back here. Yeah, see, I bought this W on the daily chart, and then you could see I went underwater immediately for a while. But this was like a no stop, sell half on double trade, so that's okay. I wish I would have been buying more, to be honest. I just kind of didn't have my head together at the end of the year, and I wasn't. So I mean, I would have been nice to add down here, but anyway. So I was in on the daily chart, but just using this weekly chart for like an investor kind of viewpoint. You know, you would have had several days to buy that level there, 387, which you're about to get a double. It looks like you haven't quite gotten it. So again, that's, you're paying up a little bit in this case. That kind of goes back to that price risk and information risk thing. You know, you could have been in here nibbling against here, or you could have been buying this daily level like I was, but you're taking more price risk, because I think is how you'd say it, because there's, you know, you're paying less, but you have less information to work with. Whereas here you have more information with the big W confirmation, but you're paying up a little bit. So, so this is part of figuring out who you are as a trader, right? You got to figure out, where are you in buying this bottom? Like, how aggressive are you? How much confirmation do you need? But nonetheless, even buying the W, you can see the party's off to the races now, and this thing has tons of upside. And like I said, crypto stocks seem to be outperforming crypto. So, which is something I saw happen last cycle, to be honest, too. Like things like Riot and Mara, and this even, geez, this thing went from $1.49 up to $42. You know, that's a huge run up. So I'm expecting even a move back to the 50% level here is $22. So that's, you know, that's almost a 10xer from my level to back to the 50%. So that, anyway, that's just, you know, again, hopefully you see the same type of chart. This is, it's, I guess it could be boring. Try to think of it as boring. Maybe you think it's boring that I'm talking about this, but this is what you need to find to invest in these things. And I believe this is true for stocks and crypto and anything really. I mean, it's hard, you know, it's just kind of, especially like altcoins and things like that, they have a tendency to come all the way back down to the bottom at the end, you know, before they set up a bull run for the next cycle. So even if we don't get like a new highs kind of bull run, you know, when the next bull comes, even just move back to 50% levels, you know, that's big moves in these. And like Hut is another one, kind of uglier bottom here. And then one that's sort of underperforming is this BTCM. This one might be even still viable. Richard's saying, what's the best platform for stocks? I believe would be Interactive Brokers. I mean, I'm in the US. Seems like most of my friends outside the US like Interactive Brokers. I like Interactive Brokers too. They're kind of the best probably, but they also offer services to people in Europe. So I use Interactive Brokers, E-Trade, and Robinhood, but E-Trade's not available, I don't think, outside of the U.S. And then Robinhood's fine for certain things, but you might as well have a real brokerage account than Robinhood. Although if you like to trade like cheap options and stuff, Robinhood's good for that because there's no commission on options. But anyhow, Interactive Brokers, which I was just playing with their platform, their actual like you download the platform to your computer, and it's so archaic seeming. It's like they made it in the 80s or something. So I use my mobile phone for entering orders though. Actually, I just, the mobile app, I usually do all my charting on TradingView anyway, and then I just enter orders on Interactive Brokers on the mobile app. But the only issue with that is you can't do like OCO orders on the mobile app. That's what I was trying to figure out today, but that's a whole other conversation. Richard wants to delve into writing options. Oh yeah, fair enough, but geez, that's well, it depends what you mean by writing options. I mean, there's simpler strategies and complex ones and more risky ones, but I'm a big fan of trading just like vertical spreads, which is, you are technically writing one side of that option, but it's not that risky comparatively. Anyway, that's a total other tangent, but I was going to talk about the BTCM next. This is another Bitcoin miner. I mean, my main point of this is, damn, the Bitcoin miners are strong, and now crypto stocks in general are looking uppy, and of course the whole market's looking uppy, and it's like, damn, okay, we're in this summer rally. So like it or not, it seems to be like up is the easier direction for the short term. I mean, I didn't cover the broader stock market just yet. There are reasons to be, cautious, but it seems like relatively bullish. So I think I've been relatively bullish for the last several months here too on our Sunday shows and stuff, trying to just just kind of read the tea leaves, man. The charts look bullish, regardless of the macro state of things or all the FUD and all the nonsense. There's just been a lot of reasons to remain relatively bullish, even in altcoins that mostly look kind of crappy, but there's a couple, they're starting to turn. So, but look like this. I mean, hopefully you can see the W's coming in. I mean, that's the cleanest W in this sort of wider W that's trying to form. And this thing hasn't taken off with the vigor that like the bigger names have. And maybe there's still time. I mean, this thing might come back down. But this is BTCM, another miner. I think it's worth considering it at least. But let's see what OBV looks like on this one. Yeah, so here we were making lower lows here, and OBV actually wasn't in divergence, so doesn't look great. But there is a wider, huge divergence. So like, and this is still like, this is the shit right here, man. I swear it's like OBV divergences. So like, we were obviously in this mega bear here, but OBV just started, was definitely trending up, but then there was also the W that's just forming like here. So, we made a higher low right here in OBV. So that's the divergence, which actually confirmed on this up move here. So like, and the thing is, going back to reasons to get into these trades, like, on this move, you didn't have a weekly W. So you did have like potential OBV divergence, and location was clearly good because it was all the way down against the lows. No weekly W here anyway. So I think it was smarter to, let this thing pop. This is the conservative approach. Let there think maybe this thing has actually started bottoming, and you could draw your fibs off of that level now and start hunting W's down, down in reload zones. We didn't get, we did get down to 78.6, but we didn't W until afterwards. But this is a pretty typical bottom. Got a little W here, and then we even pulled back into that W and tested it, and now we're just making a bigger, huge giant weekly W. So if this week closes above this level here, I would say that's a nice strong weekly W close. And so then any dips back down are buying opportunities. That's sort of how the game works. Oh yeah, Richard's saying writing covered calls. Yeah, sure, that's great. Yeah, I mean, there's not like naked risk in that, right? Because you at least own the stock. So those aren't, yeah, that's cool. I'd like to do more of that myself too, to be honest. I don't really mess with that. Maybe someday. Um, Anyhow, ramble on. There's another W. So Paul wanted to look at Bitcoin dominance. We'll just jump into it. I guess I swear I had a plan in my head, and then I just immediately didn't start following it for this stream, which is kind of what I always do. It's hard to like stay on target because if you start talking about something, you'll just completely derail. So, but anyway, I'm just kind of practicing this anyway. I'm always trying to get better, so this is just another time to do that. I saw Paul talk about dominance in the room earlier today, but I'm not the best analyst of dominance. I mean, I get the gist, I think, but I mean, from a technical standpoint, you can see the kind of W that I've been talking about. So clearly down here, there was a bottom in dominance. I mean, we had location, you know, off of this range. We'd come all the way back down to the bottom of the range, going all the way back to the 2018 lows. So that was a pretty decent place to start thinking about a bottom in dominance. So I suppose here, that breakout was on December 22nd, which was the bottom in Bitcoin. You know, this kind of looks like Bitcoin, obviously. Basically looks exactly like Bitcoin. But I think the takeaway now is, you know, we had this range that was well established. You know, if we maybe drew it from like, even if I drew it from back there, just sort of, you know, we had 39% at the bottom of the range and 48% at the top of the range, and we'd carved out this range we were banging around in all the way up until a few weeks back on like the 5th of June. We started ripping, and at this point, I suppose altcoins were probably getting hammered pretty good. Well, really through this whole move up, altcoins were underperforming Bitcoin clearly. But the change in state was right here. You know, we broke pretty hard to the upside and kind of got out of this range. But now we're actually kind of M'd out here. So I think probably what Paul was getting at is maybe we're, you know, this whole sort of summer, can there be a summer altcoin rally? And I think for that to happen, this needs to start pointing down. And I suppose it, you know, we did get outside the range. We could probably do something like draw a fib off of the top and just go like that and probably see 38.2 up there. Yeah, you can see, oh, this is just like Ripple did. This is what we also expect to the upside, which I've been talking about calling bottoms here for a bit, but now this would be like, what do tops look like? And like 38.2s aren't really places for tops, but remember I said 38.2 is sort of where we kind of see if the bull has any legs to it. And so it's not a surprise to see a reaction at 38.2 no matter what, you know. So if anytime we have something running up into 38.2, just like Ripple did today, it got rejected right at it. Now it still might move higher, but like the rejection's there. And you can see this little M, it's like 4 candle M. And it's a weekly chart, so weekly M is, you know, if we look at it on a daily, you can see it's a much more established M, you know. So this is so we broke the range, got outside of the range, but then got rejected at 38.2 and M'd out. So like it's possible we have to go back down into the range, and this would be just kind of a elongate, like sort of an exaggerated fake out. We got way past the range, but now we have to come back down. And so any moves back into the range, and altcoins can probably enjoy a little bit of a summer. So that's kind of what we'd expect to see happening right now, I think, right? If we draw fibs from the bottom up to the top, we have 38.2 down here. And so like, I think that's probably a window, you know, that window from here to here is the altcoin rally if we get it. You know, dominance will bang around down in here, getting down to 38.2, which is really just testing like this consolidation area. So if this M is valid, well, it's already valid, but if this M holds, then altcoins could party through here, I think is the thinking. And you can see the M and RSI coming in hard. RSI got really overbought. It got more overbought than it had been, you know, in a while. So I mean, the takeaway here is not a crazy place to see this extended rally get rejected at. And this M actually marks a pretty decent top. You can see how there wasn't, you know, there was a fake out M right here where they M'd it out and then just faked everybody out. But this is better location for this M, in my opinion. That doesn't mean the bull is over. It just means that the bull's it's on pause. It got rejected at 38.2 and it put an M in. So it's just sort of on pause. It needs to come down and recharge again, which could mean like trend continuation down the road. But right now it's just sort of like, there's an M. This is our summer rally. Hopefully. It's a good thing to watch, though. If this thing turns around and just starts shooting up, then that's probably not going to be summer rally. Maybe Bitcoin gets the glory again. But, I mean, Bitcoin's had a lot of glory through this, so why don't we go look at Bitcoin, actually? But I think that's probably what maybe Paul was getting at here, is this M top is opening up room for altcoins to move higher. Let's look at Bitcoin, though. Really quick, I just want to touch on a few things. One is the dollar just getting destroyed, which also promotes the summer rally idea. However, the dollar, I mean, it's just been getting crushed for the last week. And we're coming into a sort of a support area is all I'll say about this. And so I do think the dollar is in a greater downtrend. And so I do think moves down into the green box are likely. And so that means that, you know, the risk on market might have some fun. Certainly in the next 6 weeks, like I was saying, this thing could just waffle around down here and not really catch any bounce for the next month. And that would just allow everything, you know, again, allow altcoins to have some breathing room to the upside. But this ABCD, and then there's this support level, which is actually 61.8 fibs. So there's like confluence right here for a bounce. Now, a bounce doesn't mean new bull, which is, I do think that if we see any sort of W's down here, I mean, you might just really, I think the trend is down. So now I'd be like, well, any bounces are going to be like, you know, sell the rally type ideas. So like the bounce to the upside to the bottom of the range will be the first resistance. And then I personally believe that this white 200 period moving average is going to be tested at some point. It's just a question of how it gets tested, but you can see how it's starting to really steeply point down. This stuff doesn't turn very quickly. So like, you know, the next while is going to probably look something like that. So this thing might bounce around. Eventually, I think it'll test that. And then it'll take W's on the other side to start swinging this thing around. So as long as that white line is pointing down, then I think that, you know, we're just sort of trending down in the dollar. So that kind of, you know, that leaves room for the stock market, you know, the stock market and Bitcoin to move higher. And like, look at this. I won't go off on the stock market too much, but just looking at the S&P really quick, it clearly just blasted through the highs here. And we're at 78.6 of the entire range here. You know, 78.6 is right here. So we have short location, but does this look like, remember I was talking about rounded bottoms. This tops have a tendency to be a little more jagged, but like, do you see any kind of M in that? Like, I don't see any sort of top here. I just see pushing to the upside. So for now, you know, like Paul was saying earlier, three bar top at minimum, like a fractal top to even start thinking this thing's rolling over. And personally, just when I gauge the vibe of the market, or what I believe too many people are bearish, man. I think people are getting caught, you know, either short or at least just bearish. And they're getting kind of, you know, getting sort of run over right now. And I don't see any reason why we can't maybe take out this next high at 46.31, bare minimum. Then that starts getting up into 88.6. And at this point, why wouldn't they test the highs to just really give everybody something to freak out about? I mean, it'd be hilarious if the stock market's like possibly making new highs here. I think this is horrible buying location, but at the same time, you know, we're just making higher highs and higher lows. That's the most important takeaway. Higher highs and higher lows. Moving averages are all pointing up. There is potential divs and stuff coming in, but there's no structural tops. So like you kind of got to, you know, longs are on pause. You can't really be longing like this. Like I wouldn't go out and buy like, you know, index for your retirement account right here. That's not really a great idea. You'd be better off buying like some of the stocks that I've been talking about and stuff like that are at the bottom of their ranges. But if you're a trader, I mean, if you're a day trader, you should at least be considering some sort of topping reaction here to short. But I'm also the kind of the opinion of like long until you're wrong, they say. Like, you know, never underestimate the power of a trend. So you want to keep the trend on your side. So I think it's better to be hunting longs in the short term still. And that's why we have things like our THG indicator that we have for all our premium members that basically just tries to keep you in trends and not Not call tops too early, because man, it can be dangerous to call tops too early. What are people saying in the chat? Trend is our friend. Paul says, I need 3 reasons for reversal. Yeah, so let's talk about 3 reasons really quick. Would be location. You can argue, depending on your trading plan. I mean, either way, like I could, red boxes are sort of like the TRI 61.8 to 78.6 Brian Beamish reload zone, to give the man credit for his one of the best. I couldn't have been taught a better tool. What can I say? It's one of the best tools probably you could learn. So we have his 78.6 location. So for sure there's short location. That's one reason, but like, do we have divergences would be the, any sort of momentum confirmation for a reversal. And I had drawn this, potential M in RSI not coming in. In fact, it's just Wing out again. And then OBV, actually, this is a weird one because we did hit, this is the ES sort of extended contract or whatever you call it, the cumulative one. I don't even trust this because when I turn off set to close, settlement close, it actually doesn't show up as OBV div. That's actually OBVW. So I don't even trust that. But I guess technically I had an OBV div here, which I would normally be very alarmed, or that would be an alarm for me. That would be a second reason. Remember I said OBV divs take longer to confirm than RSI and stuff. Well, in this case, technically we got the M top in OBV, but you can see it's just rejecting right now. And I don't know. This is a tricky market to look at because I'm looking at the cumulative one. If I go look at the actual contract, it'll probably look slightly different and stuff. So you got to kind of factor that in. There's a few different ways of looking. Plus, you could look at like the markets that Paul trades. The MyForex fund markets or CFDs. They have a slightly different chart. So, but either way, that would be reason number 2. I don't see it there yet. And then reason number 3 would be a structural top, which until we get, ideally there'd be some sort of M's. At some point we'll get like an M. Like you could see the M over here. It's a little bit ugly, but there is the M top last time. So gotta wait for that. Could be like, hey David. Nice. Well, hey David, welcome. I don't know if you're just joining us now, but thanks for tuning into all our shows, man. You're a diehard for sure. So hopefully, well, you must like it on some level. But anyway, no M top yet. Long story short on the stock market. So that's the S&P. The Nasdaq's the same. So I mean, just ripping bulls, man. So going back to my it's the same. The only difference between the Nasdaq and S&P is it's been leading the rally, and it's still even a little bit stronger now, I would say. Of course, with tech, a lot of the tech names just launch in like a little earlier in the year. Nvidia and everything. Amazon. I don't know if you call that tech, but clearly all the tech companies blast off, and really a lot of this rally was driven by the bigger stocks in the market. So the Nasdaq's sort of a little bit front running the S&P, but man, they're just bullish. And remember, the dollar was just getting destroyed in a downtrend. These things are moving higher. So it's really hard to be bearish here. Now, there's a difference between being bearish and being, just because it's hard to be bearish here doesn't mean you should be taking on new longs. It's a little late for like getting super bullish on this index. I mean, that's where you can drill down and find crypto and stocks and stuff that are still bottoming. But there's no reason why this thing can't keep grinding higher, man. Like, I mean, if you zoom out and just, like, I'm going to go back to the S&P really quick and put it on a weekly chart and just kind of, just, if you just zoom out and think, God, I hate how that's doing that. And I have this funny VWAP on there. I mean, this is the stock market going back to the 2008. That was the 2008 crisis right there, that dump. And you can see how we lost the 200, and then we just basically quickly reclaimed it. I mean, it took a couple years, but as soon as we reclaimed the 200 weekly here and then even tested it, it's just been a solid bull market ever since. With the 200 being tested on occasion, even COVID, wasn't much of a bear market. So if you even just look at it like below the white line is bear market, I don't know if we've really had a true bear market. I mean, I think you could call this down move, people were calling it the bear, and that's fine. But from a zoomed out perspective, all we did was check the 200 again and bounce hard. So, I mean, it's still a bull. I mean, doesn't mean something like this can't just happen tomorrow. And then if that happened right here, we'd have a massive M. So, I mean, imagine that if this thing does break that and we actually M out. That'll be like, okay, that'll be a very different change in trend than this slow white line, if we actually M'd out through it. But that's like down the road. That's not today. So I think it's something to be mindful of. And of course, you can see how locations are pretty decent for my little M to come in up here, but that's not yet. And so why can't we just, I mean, you could argue we could be ABCD and off of the COVID lows. I mean, I don't know. There could be something like this happening. So I'm just saying, be careful getting too bearish. I don't know. The stock market's had a tendency to stay strong, even through, this was COVID, just mega bull. Now, of course, there's all kinds of macroeconomic issues, and I'm not getting into any of that. Just from a technical standpoint, I don't see a top here yet, and so I'm as a range trader, yeah, I have to be thinking this is a pretty good place for a top. So I'm not going to be taking on new longs, as a range trader is going to be shorting the highs up here. They're going to be shorting the move up against the old highs. Even like the classic FU move, like breaking to new highs is a short location, for traders. So this is, you got to be thinking potential shorts here. But in general, the general gist is we've just bounced strong off the 200 and we're just ripping. And so even like pullbacks might come in, but they're buying opportunities. And I would say it's almost like a gift. If for some reason we get pullbacks to like this blue line here at 42.10, like that's like a buying gift almost. I don't see that as bearish. At that point, the 200 will probably have, made its way up higher. This thing's just going to keep shooting straight up like that. And maybe it takes a while to make its way down here, but maybe we end up Wing down here again off the 200 and moving higher. So there could be some down, but just because we start going down, the trend is still very much up on a zoomed out. So just to keep some perspective. Anyway, I'll skip the Russell, although getting a great, I do like to talk about the small caps, but I'll just say that it's breaking out very nicely, which is making those crypto stocks are sort of part of this smaller cap market, some of them at least. And a lot of the shit stocks that are popping, like I've seen, like, man, there's a lot of bulls in the stock market. Like some of the EV stuff, like Nathaniel, one of our traders, has just been killing it lately. Things like Nikola and anyway, a lot of smaller stocks have been taken off, and that's kind of this. And I just kind of drawn this sort of ugly flaggy looking thing, and I'm expecting a move up into the top of this range. Like the small cap stock market's been range bound for quite a while. It hasn't been rallying like the NASDAQ. But now we're starting to get at least the top of the range. So again, summer rally kind of idea. I think moving up into the top of the range is like sort of the summer rally. And once we get up here, it's a question of whether we get rejected or not. You can see like my ABCD is basically just the highs. So I do think there's a window for stocks to rally here. And you can see like the indicators are not breaking down and that trend line's intact on RSI. And also OBV, it tried to M out here, but it's just still pointing higher. So bulls, just a risk on is bullish in my opinion. I don't know, but Bitcoin finally got started going today. That's what I sometimes I leave out all Bitcoin and crypto. I like talking stocks, but Bitcoin has just been sort of at this precarious kind of ugly level up against the highs, and finally today really seemed to start, even with Ethereum kind of had more oomph behind it. But I mean, I was kind of still, and I still think maybe this can happen to test now we've changed the range a little bit, but essentially Bitcoin broke to a new high again today, after just being in this sort of weeks long ugly range with a lot of, like kind of moves to the up moves to both sides of this ugly range. If we were to maybe call, like, I guess this, even that low right there, I would say is the bottom. So that's 29,539. And then the old top, well, even if we just use that to kind of accentuate the FU moves that happened, that's like our range. And you can see how, they washed the range this time, brought it right back in, ran the stops on the highs here, there, dumped it back to in the range. It's just ugly. Hard to take a trade in here if you're a like a position trader, somebody that's trading like a daily chart. You know, we're up against the old highs. We didn't break through with any sort of oomph, and actually even now we don't have a close above above this high or this high at the moment, but well, we haven't closed yet, but nonetheless, this could end up being a fake out and we still have to dump, but we finally kind of, all through here when the stock market was just ripping, and also the crypto stocks were ripping through here, and this wasn't doing anything the last week. I like the idea of a pullback into 38.2s, 28,000 area, 28,000 plus, and I drew these two ABCDs as green lines here. I still like that. It sort of changed a little bit with a pop to new high, but 38.2 is still down here, and support against this high here, this key high. I think I like that. But maybe we just shoot straight up. And I was even saying this yesterday because in the bigger picture, I still see this 35,000 as the next stop on the bull side, and I do think we're gonna get up here. We'll see what happens, but I don't see any reason why. There's a lot of confluence up here, and primarily those things are, there's this big head and shoulders, which we've talked about for weeks and weeks and weeks. So that's the head and shoulders breakout, and the head and shoulders breakout is this 200% move. So the 35,117 is the target of the head and shoulders, and this head and shoulders is playing out like a perfect head and shoulders in the sense that we broke out, came back and checked the neckline, and then broke out again. That's sort of what I like to see. And if you draw extensions, this is a 1.618 level, which is what you kind of I've sort of seen, like these head and shoulders break out, hit the 1.618, come back to the neckline, then bounce to the 200%, which is the head and shoulders target. So this is very much a valid head and shoulders in my opinion, with an amazing check of the 200 moving average on the right side of the shoulder, by the way, confirming the change to the uptrend. You can see the uptrend just slowly changing, and now we're pointing higher. We're in an uptrend. We're not in a downtrend. And we're not even range bound, because the range would be this head and shoulders. We would have had to stay inside that range to truly be range bound. The fact that we broke out of it and checked and moved higher. Anyhow, so sorry, 35,117 is the head and shoulders target. 38.2 of this entire range off the all-time highs. Remember I said 38.2 should be tested to sort of confirm the bull. We haven't hit that yet, just like XRP hit today. That's 35,900, so still in the 35K. And then basically just 35K, big fat round number. So those are three areas of confluence, or one area with three confluences. I guess you could say it that way. That's a weird way of saying it. Those are three solid location reasons. That's just a location reason. Going back to our reasons, though, that's just one type of reason. Three confirmations of the same reason, which is location. It's a price objective for me. Like, I think that's a good level to see price go up to. Now, I did think Bitcoin looked precarious here, and still does with this sort of FU move now to the upside today. We'll have to see what happens, but I still kind of am looking for a long down here. Have it dump down into 38.2s and set up W's and stuff. Bogdan saying, I like the idea of that pullback too, but take a look at daily RSI W. Yeah, and so this is like sort of continuation. So, I mean, RSI did sort of it did go into divergence, bearish divergence here when we poked to new high, but that's sort of in play. But OBV did not. OBV is still very much pointing higher. So there, there's no, much like the S&P, I don't think you can call a top here. Now you could call this it's not really like a flag, but you could trade this ABCD like this. It's not like my favorite because there wasn't very much of a pullback, but maybe that's what's happening, and we are just gonna. I was saying that yesterday. I don't know. We could just shoot up right here, but it's harder to take a trade that way. I'd much rather take a trade off of 38.2 down here, where like price can sort of like make its way down here and W out. Would be kind of ugly W. And again, like I was just saying about the S&P, I think that 200 is going to be going like that, and so maybe we have to work our way down to it eventually again. But either way, that's the trade I see. Whoops. That's like what I see as a possible trade. Oh my God, I'm hitting the wrong. I meant to delete or something. Okay. How long have I've been going for an hour and 14 minutes? Holy shit. Well, I'm just yeah, that's funny. Oh, there's people watching though. I suppose if you guys want to look at something, we could look at some things. I could probably I'll try to wrap up Bitcoin with just saying that Bogdan's right. The RSI is not really broken down. If anything, it's starting to poke higher. And we did almost check the 50 line here. So it's just kind of up to you whether you think there's a continuation trade here. I don't see one. I have a hard time taking a long here. But the target is, can you sneak, is there some sort of trade you can sneak into where the target's a 2-to-1? It's going to be, you could risk those lows, and that's like a 2.4-to-1 if you were like buying, maybe we buy that W. I'm not saying, dude, this is not my style at all, actually, but I don't know. If you think if you have any sort of breakout setup to hit that, you could maybe get a 2-to-1 by that, but I don't know. I don't like that trade at all. I don't really like that. So I'm just sitting on my hands, basically. I'm not going to long here, and I'm not really interested in shorting here. I'd rather wait to short up here. So bare minimum, I see, they're testing this high here, going way back to June of last year. And so that's sort of just been like resistance up until now. We haven't quite hit it yet. So maybe I could see shorts up here, but just again, be patient. I mean, we're starting an uptrend. I don't really like shorting when we're starting an uptrend. If you like zoom out a bit, it's like that's just like it's the opposite of catching a knife, whatever that is. You're just trying to step in front of a train here. You can see it's a W. As you zoom out, it starts looking like a little W, and the Bogdan's W2 down here. So I don't think that shorting is a good idea. Longing's a different story. Anyway, that's too much Bitcoin already anyhow. But Ethereum was a little bit more, a little bit, it had a little stronger of a pop today. It popped back higher up into the reload zone. So I was saying yesterday Ethereum's boring. And it is. It was kind of just squeezing against it was at the 50% level, middle of this range, and not really much to do. Sure, you could have been hunting lower time frame longs here and you would have been right today. But hard to take a trade in the middle of the range. But now we're up in short location, so... you have location, but no top. RSI is not even overbought yet, and there's no divergences. No, OBV is technically in potential divergence, but it's too early to call it. Paul's saying he has a scalp short on BTC just as SFU is smaller. Yeah, sure. Yeah, drilled in. Sure. So yeah, Paul's short BTC. Ethereum is just in, it's up in short reload zone. It just took out a new high, and now it's just sort of sitting here, no top. Also beginning an uptrend. So like, I don't know, like long-term shorts, I don't know if I want to short that. Let's see. Let's see what Paul's trade looks like. It's a pretty classic Paul trade. Yeah, so he had a key level at 31,494, and he hit that level. That seems, let's see what that is. 31,494. Let's look at it on my chart, but I mean, keep in mind, I didn't even look at that. It was probably a 5-minute chart or something. 31,494. Well, it's like the high. Well, this is a different chart. I didn't go up that high actually, because I'm on Coinbase. That's 31, or no, it's 31,862. So. Well, anyway, he's shorting these highs, basically, which I can see as a day trader. That's a different sort of thing. He's assuming this is a fake out to the upside, which I think is pretty smart. And like I said, I think we're going to dump down in 38.2, so he'll have a nice trade for him if that happens. Well, that's Bitcoin. I don't see any requests in the room. I don't know. I'm getting on an hour. I mean, I can keep talking, but I don't know if it's worth keeping at it. But if there's something somebody wants to look at, we could. Otherwise, what are my last thoughts? I wish I had something that was straight up buyable. I was interested in Matic, but like, let's see what Matic did today, because I saw somebody talking about Matic's rebranding to Pol or something, Poly, I guess it would be. But like, it reminded me that I haven't really reloaded on ad. Oh God. Yeah, I wanted to buy more Matic, but it just hasn't really been. I mean, I was kind of kicking myself because I don't know what I was doing here. I should have at least probably had a bid against the W here if I was drinking my own Kool-Aid, um, but I do like, I like Matic for the long term, and it did come down into like 78.6, and that was a killer location to be buying, clearly. But there's not really a setup here. Going back to my whole setup, that's sort of why I wasn't paying attention to it, because remember, I do want to see, I want to see everything round out. So like this thing will probably still have to come back down and do something like this. So I can't really I want to buy Matic, but I don't want to buy it here for sure. And I missed my window here so far. And then I was looking at like THG trades today, and it looks like they would have worked, but I didn't. I'm sort of re-evaluating my crypto swing trading plan and day trading plan, because I don't have I have to sort of change that a little bit, so I haven't been focused on it right now. I had a short too, but it hit my stop. Oh, so Bogdan you got stopped out. Damn. Richard wants to look at Render, which is another one that was like a high flyer, and Matic wasn't necessarily a high flyer through this rally, but it did go up pretty good, and it just didn't want to break down. That's like, Matic V bottomed hard and then just enjoyed really a lot of strength up into like February. It was like an early to rally type name. It just looks ugly here. There's not a lot to work with. So Render, I know, is topping out, or already has topped out probably, which is cool. I think this is one I want to buy. I unfortunately did not take part in this massive run up, but what can we say about Render? First off, I'm gonna go to a weekly chart, but first off, you can't buy it here. That'd be I think everybody, hopefully people know that. Like if you don't know that, then you might consider that, this thing went from 40 cents up to 270, and now it's at like 250, $2, sorry. So I don't really like the idea of buying it right here. As far as like a weekly top, I don't think you could say there's actually an M. This is a weekly chart though. It takes a long time for like a weekly M to come in, and you might not even get it. It might just have to be like ugly kind of, this is an inside bar, this first red candle inside of the previous green candle, and then the dump. So it's kind of head and shoulders-y. So there is a top working. Like I do see like a head and shoulders like this. Hasn't confirmed. So like a break through that neckline is the head and shoulders confirmation, which the target will be all the way down at the bottom. So daily bought to the downside. Oh yeah, okay, there probably is. We'll look at that. So yeah, so definitely a top. Like, oh, and I'll add, there's also, well, not confirmed. Did RSI divergence confirm? Not quite. So like RSI will be a confirmed divergence when that level's lost, and there's an actual M. Now we do have an M here already, which was that in divergence. Yeah. So like, yeah, we did. So we already have confirmed RSI weekly divergence. There, there's the move up, and then the M came in lower high. So clearly that's that. Well, that one's confirmed because that one confirmed here. And OBV doesn't look great, but it's not really in divergence. It's making higher highs all up until here, and now it's potentially emanating out. So I think, the rally is sort of on pause. It doesn't mean it can't get charged up again, but for the moment it looks pretty bearish. And look at this daily chart and see what he's saying. So a bot's like a continuation trade, right? So you're expecting a loss of the range. I would say the range is, right now the range is here. So we topped out, came down and V-bottomed, and just dead cat bounced up into 38.2, up into the 50% level, got rejected hard there. So that's like confirmation the bear is still on. So that's good for the bot. Now we just had this like big impulsive move down, bounce, dead cat bounce into 38.2s, got rejected, and now we're making lower highs through here. So we just have lower highs. We don't really have lower lows, so we're still in a range here, from there and then up here. And so in a sense, you'd have to be, if you're a range trader, you're looking for longs, but the bot's continuation. So that means you're trying to you're making the assumption there's going to be a ABCD down. So, like that. And so, which would take us all the way down to 113, which I think, by the way, is totally possible. And I think we are going down there in general. It's probably going to take a long time for this thing to just sort of work its way back from this rally. And remember, I said altcoins like to come all the way back down. And so we'll see if Render was one of the strongest ones. The whole AI rally, first quarter AI rally, essentially, this was like the strongest in the market. Will it make it all the way back down to the bottom? I mean, this was just January. That's what's crazy. That was only 7 or 8 months ago, that bottom. So, I think the target's not unreasonable. I'll say that. Now, the only thing I'll say about the bot is I don't see anything particularly broken down here other than just we're in a general downtrend. So, I mean, probably want to wait for some sort of confirmation, which would be like, I mean, you could say like this M would be pretty good. Let's see here. Like that's the beginnings of an M. But that would be like the bot, because then you have like 3 higher or lower highs to set up that bot. So I don't know if we've actually, that's probably the 25 line of the bot right there anyway, or somewhere around in here. So, might want to wait for more. Personally, I would want to wait for an actual structural confirmation, because right here, this could turn into like a W just as easily and move back to the top of the range. Because if we are in a range here, then we might move back up top. And looking at the indicators down here, RSI is kind of uppy looking to me. It's not like it's like there's no divergence per se, but it's just sort of looking like it's Wing out, moving higher. And then OBV is not looking. I mean, I suppose OBV sort of it doesn't really support the bear that much to me. I mean, no M's really. I'd like to see at least an M over here to confirm that bot. But that's me. So yeah, and I would actually just say this with Render: why bother shorting Render in a bull market when you could probably find an altcoin to long? You might just think of it that way, like there's a daily bull and bear bot. Yeah, there could be that's the thing, is there could be an upside bot like going like that. But we did make a new low here. Technically, we lost that low, so you'd only have 2 lows to the upside. But I think my point of just, do you really want to short this? Because really, short location's like up here for this trade. I mean, the bot, I'm not saying it could easily play out this way. But you might be better off finding longs than shorts right now. Especially the strongest. I mean, Render was like the strongest coin. Or you're long. Sorry. Maybe I misunderstood you. Did you say short bot? I don't know why I assumed. You didn't even say. Well, you got my relatively, I'm not very bearish, but it's there. So you're long. Maybe you mean like a bot like this. Which is cool too. Like, and so yeah, I'm gonna probably, I mean, that looks better to me, but like, I don't know. No, he says no. So I don't know where your long is, but I mean, it looks a little bit more uppy than downy to me in a lot of ways, but I don't really like. Yeah, I just assumed that's what you meant for some reason, Richard. But either way, if anything, I see. I mean, I see that head and shoulders, which the neckline's a little bit crooked, but like there's like basically a neckline here to head and shoulders, so that needs to fail for this thing to go down. There's this head and shoulders top until we start losing that line probably and failing. I don't think trend continuation to the downside's that great of a trade right here. So if you're long, good for you. Maybe I could see this thing getting back up to the top of the range, so it's probably what you're looking for. March 14th is the A. Where's March? That's April. So oh yeah, so back here. Yeah, that. So like going up here all the way to there, which, I mean, you're a bull. Something like that, going all the way up to 370. I mean, that's Certainly possible. I mean, I don't know, looking at how much upside it has, like, is there any more gas in the tank? Maybe. Yeah, I mean, I see two, well, I guess I see three higher lows. Yeah, so yeah, you're front running it a bit. Um, that's cool. Yeah, maybe. I mean, in all honesty, I don't really take like long, big bots like this. I've sort of not been. That's not really my style. I do like to use the bot, but I don't use it on these big ones as much. So for me personally, like, I mean, it's fine. Like, and it could certainly work. Um, it's just not really my style. It's huge. Yeah, it is huge. And you're calling for new highs. I don't know, but this has been like the strong, it has been the strongest, one of the strongest altcoins in the market. So yeah, if the whole market keeps ripping higher, then sure. I think it's like more my style to find like some bottoming things. I haven't gone through and looked at a lot of crypto lately, but like this is a blockchain ETF that I missed, but I was trying to get filled right here and it wouldn't pull back. But this is the kind of stuff I'm more interested in right now. Like I'd probably be looking for something like this. It's come all the way back down and now it has a nice fat W to work with. RSI divergence here. OBV not so great there. I probably was looking at it on the weekly, but yeah, this one OBV looks like shit here. So maybe it's not ready, but this is also an ETF. But like nice weekly W's are kind of what I'm interested in. I'm not in this trade, but I didn't really love that it's an ETF, but I do like the idea of buying a pullback down here. Man, these things like Ebon is one that I missed too. This is some crappy blockchain company. I don't know what they do or how they're a blockchain or what it is, but this one's just making the weekly W now. So it's kind of ugly on the weekly, but I was sort of hunting this for short-term trades this last week and I couldn't get in on a trade, but man, it sure took off. Just like a nice squeeze right here and then blast off. Looks like these are all ABCDing like Coin. I think, did I talk about Coin? Coinbase is up like 20-some% on the day, which is insane, but they made it past the ABCD. So, but yeah, man, they shot Coinbase way up here too. Anyhow, I think I'm kind of flailing now at an hour and a half. So unless there's any more requests, I'll probably just call it. And hopefully that was worth listening to. I definitely just was bouncing around and talking about different ideas. I mean, mostly I was just trying to explain what bottoms look like. So hopefully I did a halfway decent job at that. And then my other point was just that we're in a pretty uppy environment right now for the summer. And I think it's the kind of thing where you don't want to step in front of it. I saw somebody jokingly saying on Twitter today, and I totally believe them. They were like, this is one of those environments where dumb bulls make way more money than smart bears. And that's like I think that's very true. I mean, you might not like it but trying to be, bears they're always trying to outsmart the market. Like often it seems like, bears always want to like predict the next recession or like, somehow out analyze the market, but sometimes you're in situations where it's just better to be a dumb bull and just try to stay with the trend. So keep that in mind. That doesn't mean go ape into like things that are already up like 100%. Like, are you going to buy Coinbase right here? I don't think that's a good idea. But losing your bullishness because things are up high isn't just because things have gone a long way doesn't mean that they have to come back down right away. So I'm still relatively bullish, but with respect to the fact that like the stock market indexes are getting kind of nosebleedy, and so it's kind of like the next 4 or 5 weeks or so. I'm looking for this to so bang out your wins if you can, and after that we'll just hopefully see a pullback back down so we can set up the next rally, which I'm thinking will hopefully be the real bottom. The actual cycle bottom will kind of be after this pump. I think it'll be like down the road, like end of this year, early next year. We'll kind of start setting up the actual bull headed into the Bitcoin halving and all that stuff. So, if you're not long right now, try not to FOMO and just be patient and try to look for things with charts like the ones I was showing you earlier with XRP and XLM. And with that said, Richard's got to go to bed. So good night, sir. Thanks for joining us, and I'll let everybody go, and maybe I'll do some more of these public streams down the road, but I'll also be doing more afternoon shows that probably aren't going to be an hour and a half long, but for our premium members, I think around the New York close, so yeah, about an hour and a half ago is kind of when I'll start, and just sort of feel it out and see what kind of stuff is worth talking about and what gives people the most value. So anyway, thanks for joining us and joining me at least, and I'll just wish you guys all the best and have a good rest of your evenings if it's that time for you, and I'll see you guys soon. So take care. Bye-bye.